Hello, and welcome to another video. So, girl, it's early in the morning. Not too early, even though I have been up a bit earlier. I was going to film this video for you guys late last night. Either one of these scenarios work well, okay? So, I think I went to bed around 12 o'clock last night, and I got up at 5:20-ish this morning just so I could have some time to myself before the kids woke up. And I was like, you know what? This is the perfect video to do this at this time. So let's get started. All right, so I came across this proverb. Now, if you are having like a hard time as a mother, as a wife, as a woman in general, I would go off to say, you should read a proverb a day. It will change your life. But we're gonna go ahead and read this one. I went past the field of a sluggard, so someone who's lazy, past the vineyard of someone who had no sense. And one translation says, I went past the vineyard of someone who lacked understanding. Thorns had come up everywhere. The ground was covered with weeds. The stone wall was in ruins. I applied my heart to what I observed, and I learned a lesson from what I saw. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come over you like a thief, and poverty will come upon you like just out of nowhere, okay? Scarcity out of nowhere, like somebody armed, okay. So I read that because I feel like this is not only a good depiction of what happens in life, but oftentimes we allow it to happen in our families, with our children. A little sleep, a little slumber, just a little, girl, I'm too tired today. Oh, I ain't got time for that today. Just a little bit of that. And you can find yourself doing that throughout the years. And the child's 8 turned to 18 real quick. And there's some things that you missed out on giving to the children. I will say this, yesterday my husband and I, it was the weekend, and we were watching this little Angola series. And it was, to me, watching things like that is very sad because I see humans. I see men who have potential, to do the right thing had they been given the right environment, had they been given the right chance. I found a lot of times especially now, people don't want to correct children. They don't want to set up the proper systems for children to thrive, and correction is in that system. I also want to say that God's given us a structure of family that in today's society we have tried our darndest to dismantle, to take it apart, to say that it doesn't exist, to say that it doesn't need to be, and it does. We're not God, so we don't know why the structure is the way that it is, but it be in your best interest to follow it. You say, Tanzania, I don't have no man, it's just me, I'm a single mama. God is, I said that in the last video, God is watching over you. He knows your exact situation. If you are not continuing to perpetuate the sin that got you in this place, you better believe God will cover you. Okay? So, I'm not talking, when I talk about some of these things as well, like male and female, the male and female in the home, I'm not talking about it in a way of like stereotypical toxic masculinity and toxic femininity. I am not talking about that. I am talking about men have certain characteristics. By nature, they have a certain nature. Women, by nature, we have a certain nature. It'd be in our best interest to lean into that nature and bring that forth fully when dealing with the children than me sitting here trying to act like my husband, or my husband sitting here trying to act like me. And let's go a step further. If you're not married to the child's father, it'll be in your best interest not to behave like the child's father. You say, Tanzania, he don't want to be around. It'd be in your best interest to not behave like even the male figure in his life. It'd be in your best interest to not sleep with every male figure that try to come into his life. Okay? I had to say it. I had to. Because sometimes you're like, well, I'm not married and I'm waiting on God to bless me with, a spouse. And the people that come into your life that might be able to be a great father figure to your children might not be your man. And that's okay. Okay? So let's move to the next thing. Now, I told y'all when I was like much younger, I realized that I had to do something different. I think I was around 18. When I was around 18, I realized And you're gonna say, girl, that's kind of young. Well, I had my son I got pregnant when I was 14, I had him when I was 15. So by the time I was like 18, I realized I have to do something different or he's going to live the same lifestyle. And the other day, he was on the phone talking to his little girlfriend. I said little girlfriend. He was on the phone talking to his girlfriend. And I'm in my room and me and my husband are watching TV, and I heard the person on the phone say, I love you. And I'm like, okay, I ain't gonna go butt in there just too quick. So after a little while, I said, were you talking on the phone? And he said, yeah. I said, I heard somebody say I love you. He said, yeah. I said it first. And he said it like it wasn't even a big deal. And I realized that he is actually taking on my attitude towards love, towards relationship, towards family. And not just my attitude, the attitude of my husband towards love, towards relationship, towards family, towards work, towards life. He's taking on our attitude. So what does that mean? That means that if you're not doing the right thing, your children are going to take that on as well. And this is not, when I thought back, when he said that, it brought me back to 18 years old when I made up my mind to make a decision to do something new with my life so that he could live a different life. And now what? 13 years later, I finally get to see, no, I made the right decision to make a different choice. And I want to tell you that today, that you can make a different choice. I recently had to change around. My daughter, you guys know, she's 4. She's about to be 5 soon. And I was doing a lot of like being so motherly to them and not really stepping into that correction space, if you know what I mean. Like, let's say for instance, they're dirtying things, they're putting things down on the floor and things of that nature, and I'm just going behind them and not calling them to pick it up, but I'm the one who's picking it up. Could you imagine how tired I could be at the end of the day, not correcting the children, and I'm doing all of the work? So I'm going to talk about that a little later, but I'm not saying this from a standpoint of like, girl, it's only you and none of me. I realized that I had to do something different. That I had to implement systems in this home to not make my workload so heavy. But I will tell you, if you let things go on, like you just let the kids run crazy, and you know there's no system, the kids get to do whatever they want, it's going to be a little rough, it's going to be a little turbulent for you to get things in order. And they will push back. That's what kids do. They will push back, but you've got to stand firm and flat-footed, realizing that it's for their benefit that you have order in your house, okay? So let's move on to the next. So the first thing I have is bedtime. So like I said, I went to bed around like 12-ish last night, and this morning I woke up at like 5:30. Why can I do that? How can I sit here in the quiet and film a video and film all these shorts? If you go take a look on my channel, film all these shorts and all these kind of things like that. How do I do that? Because there are specific times that the home is quiet. I don't send my kids away to anybody. Nobody takes my kids, because I don't want them to, first of all. But nobody takes my kids. My kids are at home most of the time. Kennedy's homeschooled, so she's fully home. My son, he's been homeschooled since the end of last school year, but he is returning to school. But I'm at home. I'm at home. The children are at home. How do I get to do that? Because there are bed times. There is a time that you have to leave this living room area and be in your room. I do not necessarily make them go to sleep, because I feel like falling asleep is actually it actually has to do with how much you do during the day. So let's say Saturday and Sunday are a bit more chill days for me, and then therefore a bit more chill days for the children. So they stay up later because they've done less on those days. Throughout the weekdays, there's no problem, especially with Kennedy. She will fall asleep right off the bat. But like, you have to be in your room. You don't have to be asleep, because that's something, like I said, something you teach yourself to do, to fall asleep. But you have to be in your room, and you must be quiet. So eventually you're gonna fall asleep. So let's move on to the next one. The next thing I have is quiet time and nap time. Now my son is a little older, so this looks a lot different for him. But if you have younger children, you can do this. I hear people say all the time, oh my gosh, she still takes naps. Absolutely, she still takes naps. Absolutely. I would take a nap. On the weekend sometimes, especially Saturdays, more Saturdays than not, I take a midday nap. So yes, my daughter takes naps. And if she does not want to sleep during her nap time, I turn on her little ocean sounds and she is having a quiet time. Not time with the iPad, not time with electronics, quiet time. And eventually she'll either fall asleep, or this is teaching her to have quiet time, to just rest your mind, just to be quiet, to have quiet time. And it also allows me to do tasks in the home that I need to be quiet. It allows me to have time in prayer. It allows me to have time to do crafts. It allows me to have time to clean up. It allows me time. But if you are carrying around the kids, you have the kids on your hip, you're letting them run amok all hours of the day, it's going to be very hard to gain structure in your life. Because remember, the children are actually mirroring the mess that is your life. Just like when you get out of the mess, they'll mirror that as well. They're a mirror. So just take a good look at your home and see some of the areas that you need to work on, and know that those are actually areas that you need to work on for yourself. Because like I said, I was cleaning up after the children. Well, I realized that though my home was clean, the home wasn't organized. So I took some time and actually organized the home. And I'll take you guys over there in just a second to show you something. But let's get through these other points. The next thing is quality time. So you cannot hold children accountable, responsible, if you don't spend time with them. You know why? Because they won't respect you. And I know some of us, especially, girl, if you like me, you think that children just should respect you just because you're their mama. And that's not going to happen. You think that children should respect you just because you're their parent, and that's not going to happen. You have to earn respect, literally. Until children get to an age, like right at my age right now, my mother doesn't have to earn my respect. I know better. I know that the word calls me to honor my mother. I understand that now. But a little child like Kennedy, she doesn't understand what honor is. So our relationship is what it is because I am what I am. You understand? So it is what it is because I give respect, so she gives respect to me. I'm her teacher at this moment in her life. So quality time. However you can spend quality time with your kids, do so. You don't have to spend a bunch of money. I'm going to take Kennedy to the park a little later today. That's spending quality time. Sometimes I'll take her, I'll put her in the stroller and then I'll take her around the park and I'll do my walk. So it's my workout, but it's actually spending quality time with her. My son likes to play the game, so I'll go in there and kind of lay on the floor and just spend quality time with him. Don't think that it needs to be anything crazy. Spend time doing what the children like to do, and it will go a long way as far as respect is concerned. When it's time for them to do things, when it's time for them to do their side of the work, taking out the trash and things like that, you won't have trouble saying things to them that is corrective if you say things to them that are loving. If you actually spend quality time with them, correction will be a lot easier. The next thing is responsibility. And I struggled with this just because I feel like I had a lot of responsibility when I was growing up. I had to do laundry and things like that at a very young age. And I didn't want my children to do that. However, I realized that my mother giving me that level of responsibility is the reason why I can sit here right now and have this level of responsibility. No one told me to film this video. I know this is something that I need to do. So responsibility is very, very important for the children. You need to assess the child's needs, okay? You need to assess how much can they be responsible for and do well, and you need to implement that. The next thing is reward. So we have responsibility and reward, because why do you don't want to just do something and not get anything out of the deal. You don't want that as an adult, and the children don't want that either. Think about if you were on your job. You're not just going to work to a promotion. If someone tells you you get promoted, but you get the same old pay, you got to work the same old hours, you don't care about a promotion. But if someone says this promotion comes with, maybe you get to come in a little later, you get paid a little bit more money, you'll work towards this reward. So think about that with the children as well. Implement some reward systems. Like I said, my son plays the game, so he gets an allowance. Or let's say he wants to buy a bigger purchase that maybe his allowance can't cover. We'll work little deals out with them. If you do this for 2 months straight, then we'll get this. You know what I mean? Just giving the children something to work towards. Kennedy, she gets a lot, more frequent rewards because she's younger and because her things cost a lot less. So taking her to things like the splash pad or the little bouncing place if she's good throughout the week. So this is just, like I said, reward, something to look forward to. And the next one is repercussion. So punishment. Punish, and they have taken this out. I ain't gonna say we. If your kids go to school, like the public school, they have taken out repercussions. They have tried their darndest to take out discipline, to take out the punishment associated with not doing the thing that you're supposed to do. Children need punishments. Children need repercussions. Am I telling you to, beat your children, abuse your children? I'm not mentioning it at all, because honestly, I don't do that. So I can't sit here and recommend that to you. However, repercussions, like perhaps if you can't, maybe the kid's acting a little bit more sassy. And you notice as the mother that this is coming from their extended use of iPad, their extended use of TV time, taking away some of that TV time until perhaps they get their act right. So things like that, you're really going to have to assess the situation to see what kind of disciplinary action needs to be taken. But to add no discipline is absolutely asinine. Okay, so those are all of the points that I just wanted to talk to you about really quickly. I know rearing children and raising children, it's very difficult, but it's difficult because, like I said, they're holding a mirror up to the areas that maybe you lack, like you have a little lack in. And as their mother, you need to grow in those areas, not just for them, but also for yourself. So let me show you. Like I said, one of my problems was I have a lot of stuff in my home, and though it's clean, it was not organized. So I organized things. I want to show you that organization. So like I said, Kennedy is homeschooled, so some of this is for that reason. However, children learning to read and really learning to put things back where they belong, I feel like it's really good, especially when you have the younger children, to label things. So here's some books, here's some puzzles, coloring, and some morning work, ribbon and coloring tools. There's our little workout thing in our home, one for our home. Now, like I said, this system also helps with the child being able to put things back where they belong. So you're not having to put everything back because the child can see clearly where things belong. Another thing I did was take a lot of the toys out of her room. And I took the toys out of her room because she's at the age, I don't know if it's just the age or maybe it's just her person, like it's just her personality. She likes to make big messes and she doesn't really like to clean it up. So I realized that the amount of toys in her room was overwhelming. So I moved the toys to the front because this living room is cleaned every single night. So I know either she's gonna clean it, I'm gonna make her clean it, or I'm gonna have to clean it in the night. So she has gotten a lot better. I've implemented this system for a bit, maybe like 3 weeks. And in 3 weeks, she is picking up her own toys. And that's a big deal, especially if you're like a tired mama because you're picking up toys all day long and your house is simply a mess. You need to teach the children to clean up after themselves. So let me show you this system we have in the front. All right, so here are the people and like little cars and things like that. These things inside of her room, she used to make the biggest mess. So she can only play with them in the front and she'll play with them on the little table. I have the paint here. Play-Doh is another one that's her favorite. And then here's her morning work, which this isn't about homeschool video, but she knows that this is her work bin right here. And then all of these other things, so blocks and all that kind of good stuff, they're all right here. Now, you might not want to go to that extent. However, like I said, one of my things is I don't want her to lean solely on screen time for having fun. I want her to have fun in other ways and also learn while she's having fun. So things like puzzles. If you never do a puzzle, you won't ever be interested in doing puzzles. So some of these things you're going to have to implement for the children. Maybe taking away some of the screen time and showing them that there's other toys to play with. We have a little patio right here, and I can open the door and then sit here and watch her play on the patio. There's a little sensory bin out there. Just create activities for the children. It doesn't have to be expensive. I bought that little bin from Walmart for $5. I filled it up with water. and I put little beads in it that I had, put some cups and pipettes and things like that. The project cost me what, $6-7 altogether. Very inexpensive. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to spend a lot of money to keep kids engaged and to keep them entertained, especially when they're younger. But I'm saying when they're younger, and I want you to hear me clearly. The older version of the child is just the younger one grown up that you created. So if your child's, let's say, 10 years old and they don't want to do things like play with puzzles, it's because you never introduced it. And if you did introduce it and you send them off to public school, that's a whole different conversation. It's not what this video is about. But other people introduce other things that might seem a bit more fun to your children. So it may be harder to implement certain things depending on how much time you spend with them. Like, how much time have you spent being the one to influence them versus other people? It will dictate, like, if they do play with their toys and things like that. And at first you might have to push a little bit. Like, no, give me the iPad. Right now it's playtime. And I don't know if you can see, you see this right here? That's actually a schedule on the wall. So there's times in the day that I actually schedule for her to do one thing or another. So whether it's, I set the Alexa, she's gonna say something.
Amazon, first used in the Amazon
Stop.
Echo and the Amazon
Alexa,
Echo dot device.
Stop. I'll set the alarm. And so that way she'll know, kind of like a little school bell, right? She'll know it's time for lunchtime. It's time to eat. I definitely am not really leaning on I don't think that you should let the kids like just, girl, eat all day long. Eat whatever they want all day long. Just running amok in the house. They're running amok in the house. They got your grocery bill high, and then they don't help you do anything. You're just a frustrated mama. Set times for these children to do things. Set meal times, set sleep times. There needs to be a time, a routine, and a schedule to do everything. And if you have to be like me and write it out so that you stick to it, so be it. Go ahead, do it. So be it. Okay? So I hope this video was helpful. I hope it wasn't too all over the place. So as always, if you have a question, ask a question, and I'll see you in the next one.